Is that good to go?
That's
Okay.
great.
All right. Welcome, everyone. And today we're going to be talking about easy way to grow your own food and also add more fruits and vegetables on your diet. And my name is Anna Marino, and I'm part of this amazing community called the Health Made Simple. And the whole goal of the community is to bring more easy ways to introduce fruits and vegetables and healthy lifestyle on families and try to make as simple as possible that people can actually start um, bringing that to their new and creating new habits with that as well. Then we are what we call pros, and those are professionals or people they are passionate about health and wellness and holistic ways to improve their health as a whole. And with me today, I have Mallory and I also have Jake. Then thank you so much for being here today and join us and bring a little bit more of information. And the reason that I was interested on this topic is I always been passionate about gardening, but I had some horrible experience. My soil in my house, I do have a backyard with nice space, but the soil is not good. Then I have to always keep changing the soil because it just doesn't have. It's like a rock, and feels like nothing can grow from there. And the 3 or 4 times I had trial with gardening, I tried to plant tomatoes, I tried to plant pepper, I tried to plant cilantro, and the bugs took over. And after less than a week, I had almost no plants because the bugs literally took over the whole plants, and I was getting really frustrated with the amount of time and a lot of the um, it was a lot of work and was no results. That's really what it was. Then when I heard about the Taro Garden, I was really excited to learn more about it because it sounds like it will fit with my busy schedule and also would give less work, and I don't have to fight with the bugs as much. Then I'm gonna pass the ball to Jake, and he's gonna tell a little bit more about that, and we're gonna get things started.
Great. Thank you so much for having me on this call, Anna. So I think we can all understand that there are two startling trends in this world that we need to kind of armor ourselves against. And we as humans are going to face some huge challenges here. And that is that we have a very toxic environment. Toxins in our world are increasing. If you want to flip over that, there we go. Environmental toxins are increasing. Wouldn't you agree that we're living in now a chemical world? We're being bombarded by toxins, which are all leading to all kinds of problems. And unless you're living in a bubble, these toxins are everywhere. We breathe them, just going to work, going to school, doing all the things. And another shocking trend in our society is that our food is decreasing. The quality of our food is decreasing. So there is a study rolling around that, a peach from my grandmother's age it would take like 30 some peaches to get the same nutritional value that you could from eating one peach, back when my grandmother was eating a peach. So we know this, it's just a trend that's going on. I think 90% of the foods that are on the shelves right now didn't exist 100 years ago. So we need to just kind of get back into the salad bowl, get back into that eating more whole food nutrition. And that is why we love the product called the Tower Garden by the Juice Plus company. This is an amazing tool, an amazing resource that we've heard. And my wife and I, we've been growing ours for almost 4 years now. We live out in Los Angeles. My wife's mother has 2 on her back patio, out in North Carolina, which is where I am right now. And if you want to go to the next slide, you can kind of see what the Tower Garden looks like. So there it is. So it is a beautiful aeroponic gardening system. And I'll get into more the nitty gritty later. But it is a way for families to grow their own fruits and vegetables in 30 inches of space by 4.5 feet tall. And it has been such a lifesaver for so many people that live in big cities, that live in areas that don't have availability of natural produce, where they have to ship in the produce. This is a way that you can go farm to table, except the farm is right on your patio or balcony or inside. And we'll get into that a little later as well. But let me tell you a little bit about the founder of it. His name is Tim Blank. And he used to work at Disney's Epcot. He was the head horticulturist there for 15 years. And if you've been to Disney World, you've actually seen our tower gardens. And Tim patented it. And our company has since purchased Future Growing, and we are the only provider of the tower garden in the world. He's an amazing guy. Originally, this was the idea for NASA, that eventually when we get to Mars, people are going to have to be able to grow their own fruits and vegetables. And there is no soil in the system. It is a soilless system, and they can still grow fruits and vegetables with something called rock wool. And again, I'll get into more of that later. But it's a very exciting time to be part of the urban gardening movement. And if you are interested in gardening, I think I'm going to turn it over to Mallory next here, because I'll also mention that the number one reason in fresh food is that you want to try to grow it yourself, get it as close to you as possible. You're saving money. The locavore movement is a really big movement right now, and people, you can kind of make choices with your money and decide how, different towns can start to get local produce. It's sustainable. Growing in a traditional gardening bed is great, but like Anna was saying, sometimes you get the bugs. Sometimes you get the things that aren't growing. And if you want to go to the next slide, I know I have to talk about the O'Hare Airport. This is really cool. So we're all over the place right now. We just got 50 towers at UCLA. We got 40 towers at USC. We're getting rooftop towers. If you go to the O'Hare Airport, they actually have a farmer's market. I think it's every Thursday, that is grown from these tower gardens. So very cool time to be alive and be in the urban garden movement. And now I'm going to turn it over to Mallory, and she can tell you a little bit more about some tower gardening ideas and how she's been able to integrate this into her life in Los Angeles.
Great. Hi, guys. Okay, so hopefully you can hear me okay. It's kind of loud. Is there a lot of background noise happening? You're all good? Okay, cool. I've got like a whippersnapper, and then I've got my tower garden going, and the water's going, so you can probably hear it. So yes, I'm such a huge fan of the tower garden. I used to garden myself. I'm from Canada, so I had a garden outside. Struggled with the seasons. You was only able to grow certain seasons. But then when I moved here to Los Angeles, for a little while I had a backyard and I was able to grow. Definitely, was fighting the pests and stuff with that. But then I moved into an apartment and I didn't have an outdoor space. And so I was really excited to be introduced to the tower garden. I'm going to pause 1 second and close that window because it's annoying for me.
Cool. LA problems. You get roads, you get all sorts of noises in LA. Thanks for doing that, Mal. And you can see Mallory's tower garden right behind her, right there. You're looking at my face right now. But Mallory, if you want to speak up and get the camera over to you, then maybe you can show off that tower.
Yeah, I'll come sit over here. How about I do this? How's that? So you can kind of see it there. Growing this. I have a few less plants than I normally do right now because I'm going out of town and I just didn't want all the food to go to waste. So tower garden can pretty much take care of itself because it is on a timer. And I've gone out of town before and I just didn't want all the food to go to waste. So I've been eating it like as much as I can to try and get it to go. So on my tower garden, so like I was saying, I moved into an apartment and I was indoors and I really wanted plants. I just wanted the greenery and I thought, well, I might as well get plants I can eat, if I'm going to be having plants in the apartment. And it was perfect timing because that's when I was introduced to the garden and it's been incredible. Like not only do I always have food to eat, but it just brings so much joy to my life. I love it so much. Like being able to garden while inside is just so amazing. And so so I've got like tomatoes on there right now and spinach and kale, arugula, cucumbers, jalapeno, and I've grown it all inside. So I have the lights on mine. And I think that, I'll talk about that with you guys because you plan on doing it inside and, a lot of people do it outside as well, but I'll focus on the indoor a little bit for you guys because that was a big concern for me as well. I have a lot of family back in Canada and you know, I understand that. I understand the difficulties with the soil, because all across Canada, there's a lot of different, you know, soil depletion is another one of those problems that we're facing in the world today. But not only with soil depletion, depending on where you're living, you do get a lot of rock. And I'm from Nova Scotia, so there's a lot of rock, and, you know, where I'm from. So when I was introduced to this garden, I thought, wow, people at home could do this all year round. And the expenses, I'm going home next week, and you said $2.50 for a tomato. I remember that from Christmas time. I thought, oh my God, like I need to ration my tomatoes. I can't, they're so expensive. Like, and I didn't really think about that until I got to the cashier, because I wasn't used to it. And then I was like, whoa, why are my groceries so expensive? So I get that. So this is a wonderful solution for that. In the tower garden, you can grow up to 20 different types of plants, and you can get an extension, so you can do 28. And it's a really great community. There's a blog, so it kind of helps you decide where you're going to put your plants, you know, and I've learned that. I've had a lot of fun with it. I have, you know, trial and error, but very little error, I must say. Like, nothing's gone wrong with it, but I've just learned, okay, well, where do I want to put things, you know? And you can pretty much grow anything that doesn't grow underground. So no root vegetables, no carrots, beets, potatoes, or anything like that. But anything that grows above ground, you can grow. This slide here shows a little bit what I was talking about, like where are you going to put things, and all of these resources are available to make it as simple as possible. You know, so you can see here, you want to put your herbs and stuff at the top, right? Because they're a little bit smaller, they need a little bit less space. And then in the middle, you want to put your lettuce. And then the bottom, you can put your cucumbers and any of your vine stuff, because they can grow fairly big. I've found inside, I've been really successful growing my tomatoes and cucumbers as well. And the lettuce is, you know, you can get so much out of it. They just flourish, absolutely. Like it's pretty incredible. So what you see here with some of these photos that are outdoor, you know, they're pretty huge. And it does just as well inside. It does really well. One thing I feel is if you want to do like, if you want to do more, and, you know, I'm single, so I can keep it kind of little, but I feel like at some point, if I had a bigger space, I might get extra lights, and then that way I could have it kind of growing outside of my garden. If you look at the photo in the middle there where it shows the tomato cage, it's the new garden, so it doesn't have too much growth on it yet. And then you can see the lights. They hang on the tomato cage. So with the basic system, you get everything you need. And then all you need to do is buy the lights and the tomato cage to add on. But the basic growing system comes with absolutely everything you need. But to grow inside, you just need to do the tomato cage and then the lights. So what I'm saying as far as growing inside, the picture right beside that shows you how everything's a little bit more contained when you grow indoors rather than coming out. Once you get out of it, they don't necessarily get as much of the light because the lights are pointing in. But it's fine. You still grow a lot. And if you really wanted to go big with it, you know, I feel like once I get a bigger space, I might point some of my lights outward, and then maybe I would have some kind of growing outside. That's totally an option. There's lots of innovative things that you can do to play around and make it work within your space. Let's flip over to the next. Oh, this is my garden. So this is, see, I get really excited. I'm so in love with it. It's kind of sad. But like, so this is in a week. I bought starter seedlings. My mom was coming to town and I really wanted to feed her, so I didn't want to start them myself because I knew I didn't have enough time. So I purchased a starter seedling. We have various farmers here in the US that you can purchase them from, but you can also get them from any nursery, and I guess that's probably pretty limited where you are getting any starter plants. Is that true? Yeah, to grow your own. So no worries, you can start them on your own. I wish I had mine here right now. I actually have them at a friend's house, like sitting out in the sun. But it comes with rock wool. I think you're going to go over that in a little bit, right, Jake? So I won't go into too much detail. But you just pop the seeds in, and within 3 days, I had the starters for growing. And so you can really time it right. So this was, I put in my starters in the picture on the left, and then within a week, it was already taking off. The picture on the left there, like right by the heart, that is watercress, and it was incredible. I had never tasted watercress like that in my life, and it grew like in abundance. It was amazing. I only had my garden for like four and a half weeks when my mom came to visit, and we ate off of it every single day. You can go to the next one. So that's another one. So that's 5 weeks. So that shows you from like the last one, the last slide to this one, all there's so much there. That's like, there's Swiss chard there, and there's arugula and tons of kale, spinach. Tomatoes are starting to grow. Yeah. It's like looking at my baby pictures or something. I don't have any children, but I'm like, oh, when it was so little. So there's tomatoes there, and you can see like it kind of has its whole evolution. Like I'm changing it around and kind of playing with the plants and making them go. Right now, I'll try to get in there in a minute and show you how I have it now, but it's, I kind of train the plants to go where they are depending on what I'm growing. And some jalapeno. Let's skip forward there. What we got?
And this is me.
There you go.
Thank you so much for sharing, Mal. I can't wait to see more of your tower and see where that takes you. But that's gorgeous, your little babies. So that's a great example of what she was talking about with the rock wool. So they send you everything you need. And basically the tower, you plug it in. The water pumps up to the top and then trickles down onto the roots like rain. It's a 30-inch basin, holds 20 gallons, and it's not like you need to, measure it exactly. Just basically, once it gets to the top, you're pretty much at 20 gallons. There are no nutrients, so you do have to add in nutrients that the company provides. And I'll show you that in the next slide. But you can see these roots hanging down. You see those roots hanging down? This is the aeroponic system, and this is what makes our tower so unique, is that most systems are hydroponics, where the roots are sitting in the water. And typically that tends to overwater the plants, and they get really big, but sometimes they don't have that flavor that can come with the oxygen that really gets into those roots. So with this, these roots can grow to be like really big. When I moved out of my college and I had a tomato cage that I had been growing, a tomato plant that I'd been growing. And when we moved, we pulled the plant out, and I actually had to use a saw to cut through the roots because they were like this thick around. It was unbelievable. So you can go to the next slide and I'll show you. So these are the nutrients. It's called Tower Tonic A and Tower Tonic B. Most soil all soil should contain 8 macro and 8 micronutrients. Most soil does not, because it has been overused, there's been runoff, there's all sorts of stuff that leaches into the soil, and this is why we love the towers, because it is ensured that you will get your 8 macros and your 8 micros and nothing else. And this was invented at Epcot specifically for human consumption, and I love that. Our entire company is about clean, natural produce, getting as many fruits and vegetables into people's diets as possible. And Anna's going to go into a little more resources that the company has, the Juice Plus company has. But it is just, it's the best. And it is NSF certified. It is chemical free. We have a pH tester to make sure that the pH is in perfect balance for your plants. All that comes with it. You can go to the next slide and you can see the entire kit. But it has 20 tower ports. That's the standard kit. And the starter seed, they give you seeds, they give you the rock wool. Rock wool is basically rock spun at super high temperatures and speeds, and it flings off this molten hot rock, and then they scoop it off and they make it into little cubes. And that is the Tower Garden rock wool cubes. They give you vermiculite, all the things you need are there, the pump, the timer. It is so cool. And the accessories that you can get a little dolly, you can get a if you want to go to the next slide, we can show. You can get a little dolly, you can get a tomato cage, you can get extension kits, just anything you need. And Mallory was talking about how the indoor growing system sometimes contains the plants. If that's an issue, then maybe you need 2 towers. If you're going through that much produce, it will pay for itself with how much you go through it. At least out here in LA, we have a lot of availability for produce, but in other places, it costs $2.50 for a tomato. So it can really be financially beneficial to do it. And then the next slide just talks about all the press that we're getting from these. We are urban gardening, whole food concentrates, and smoothie powders are the top 3 trends over the next 10 years in America. And our company has all 3 of those as resources that we can use. But it's really cool. People are talking about it. The O'Hare Airport, we're in the San Francisco Giants, the baseball stadium out there, they have an entire farm. So this is becoming more and more mainstream, and we're really looking forward to the future of where this is going to take us. So Anna, I'm going to turn it over to you, and you can talk about a couple more of the resources that the company has to offer.
Sure. Then, of course, we all want to have the freshest and the more like organic and the best fruits and vegetables we can find in the markets. And that would be the first ideal solution for everybody. But realistically, very few people are actually able to consume as many fruits and vegetables as we should. And there is a big gap between what we should be doing and what we're actually doing. Then, as a physical therapist, I can see that even more clear, because when people don't eat healthy, their systemic inflammation increase. Then when I first heard about the fruits and vegetables concentrate, it really caught my attention because it's FDA approved, it's not supplements, it's really only fruits and vegetables. Then it's for those people that should be doing X, but they're not. Then for me, it's really exciting to be able to offer that as an option to my patients as well. And they have 3 colors. And you have the red, the green, and the purple. And if you're getting the 3 capsules, you're actually getting 30 fruits and vegetables, like different fruits and vegetables a day. And that's pretty amazing. Then the difference between the supplements and when you have from the concentrate, what I think is the most important thing to people to understand is when you're getting supplements, you're only getting the isolated vitamins. The isolated vitamins is what they call the microvitamins, the vitamin A, B, C, D. We need all of that, but that's not all we need. And that's the difference between the multivitamins and eating an apple, for example, where apple has all of that. I think they have like 25 pages of micronutrients in one little apple. And if you're getting 1 capsule of supplement, you're only going to get maybe 3, 4 vitamins isolated. Then you can see what's the biggest difference between getting whole food and getting a supplement, for example. Then, and that becomes a bigger part when you think about what Jackie was saying, as far as we are already eating things they are somewhat deficient. Then how can we fill that gap? Then for me, when I see those 3 colors, I look as an insurance gap. I much rather have a lower coverage insurance and work on prevention and use that to prevent myself to getting sick to begin with, because I know having 30 fruits and vegetables a day, it will get my whole health like to the next level. Then it's a really exciting opportunity for that. Another thing that I love is the shakes. Then they have, they call it complete shakes. They have vanilla and chocolate. They do taste delicious, what's surprising. But there's another 15 fruits and vegetables on there. I get that usually for breakfast, or if I'm really busy at work and I don't have time to have lunch, for example, that's a really good way to just kind of bring another 15 fruits and vegetables. And in total, I'm getting like 45 fruits and vegetables a day. What's pretty amazing. I can feel the difference in my body after like a week. And I'm hearing over and over from my patients as well how their pain level decreasing, their skin are changing, they're getting more energy, they're not feeling as tired, and like all the benefits that we all know that we will have if we eat fruits and vegetables more often. Then that's already kind of standard. Everybody knows that's good for you. It's just how do we do that? Then if we have a chance to have a salad bowl every day, wonderful. Having the tower garden, it's definitely a great addition for that, because then you're getting the healthy, no pesticides and all of that organic fruits and vegetables option. But if that's still not complementing enough, then that's another option as well to adding to your diet. And if you can have that for snack, for like before exercise, after. That would be, then if you're having all of that, And you can see all the options for fruits and vegetables that's inside of all of that. That's total 45 whole food. That's pretty incredible. Then I'm gonna pass it back to Mallory before we close, just so she can show her tower garden. I'm gonna stop sharing the screen. But if you guys have any question, then please contact the person that invite you to this call, or contact one of us. Then we all are a distributor for the tower garden and for the products as well. And if you have any extra question, or you're gonna have time for more questions on the end as well. But if you are watching this video later, and if you do wanna contact us for further information, you can do that. I am going to stop sharing my screen now, and Mallory can show her. And you can also put a speaker view, that way her screen gets bigger, then you can get an even better look at it, what's happening.
All right, cool. So is that big enough? Can you see it all good? All right, so this is my garden these days. Like I said, I kind of was eating away at it because I didn't want it to be going bad while I was in Canada. So right now I've got some kale left. I've got some tomatoes, basil, chives, cucumbers, and jalapeno. Before that, I had 2 types of kale: spinach, arugula. I had gourmet lettuce. I had watercress. I had bib lettuce as well. I had dill at one point, and I feel like I'm forgetting some. But so what I've done, because I am indoors, and the tomato does get really large, what I've done, and I put 2 tomato plants in, and honestly, like 1 tomato plant, it's good. Like you get a lot of tomatoes. So a friend of mine was ordering her plants the other day, and I told her, like, you know, you don't necessarily need to do multiples. Like in a conventional garden where you put, you know, you do, like, I remember my garden outside, I had 5 tomato plants, you know, so you don't need to do that at all. So you have 20 spots, and 20 is plenty for sure. So I have 2 tomato plants, and they're just the little sun gold tomatoes, and literally you can just, there's no dirt, so you just like eat them. But what I've done is I took off the tomato cage, and I started wrapping the vines. So I have the vines, I don't know if you can kind of see them like wrapped around, right? So I have them going around to the bottom now. That way they're contained and they're all down here. And so it's working really well. I feel like just this last week, since I gave them that little bit of an adjustment, I have so many tomatoes coming in right now. And they're all within the light. So it worked really well. And I think that that's what I'll probably do in the future. And then I have my cucumber is going, I don't know if I can, got a cucumber, let's see here, and cucumbers down at the bottom. You can see a cucumber growing there. And so I have the cucumber going around the bottom as well. And I'm sure, like, with outdoor gardening, if you've done it before, you know, like normally you get a trellis or whatever. And this has worked really well. And something else I've done too is I have, I've tied on some string here. I don't know if you can see that. There's some string. So I almost created a bit of a web. I saw this on the blog. So like the Tower Garden blog is really amazing. They give you all the tips. So it makes it so simple for you. And there's a community of people, and everybody shares tips and ideas and stuff. So it's great. But I kind of took strings from this side to that side, to this side to that side, and I just wove it all around. And so now the tomatoes lay on it, and then they're kind of, instead of falling. And so that means that they're all getting sunlight because they're all inside. And so it's worked out really well. I'm getting so excited talking about it. Such a nerd. So then I've got my basil here, and I grow a lot of it, but I can't even keep enough of it because everybody wants it from me. They say that it's amazing. And then we've got the kale left, and there's some jalapenos growing here. They're so tiny right now, but that plant, the jalapeno, unbelievable. That's probably been the most successful plant out of all of them. I've grown so many. So yeah, so that's how it's going now. There's a lot of empty slots, and about 2 weeks ago I planted my starter seedlings, and I just have them outside in the sun right now. And then I'm going home to Canada next week, and I think that they're going to be big enough that I can put them in. So another thing I learned on the blog was that when you're transitioning your plants, if you're starting from seed, let's say you have your lettuce and you're like, okay, I'm getting to the end of my lettuce. The way to time it would be, if you think, okay, I'll have about 3 weeks left of this lettuce, which is like even ridiculous to say that you could have lettuce for 3 weeks, like thinking of how much you spend at the grocery store, right? Like, and that's not even how much you have it. I've had this since April. I haven't replanted anything since April. But, as far as replanting, you might think ahead and say, okay, I think I can probably eat off of this lettuce. It's going to be done in about 3 weeks. I'm going to plant seeds now. And so then you plant your seeds, and about in 3 weeks, that starter seedling that you started is then ready to go in the tower. So you finish that lettuce, you pull it out of the tower, you put your starter in, and then about 3 weeks from there, not even. I mean, you saw my tower in a week from the seedlings. I was eating off that lettuce in a week, especially lettuce. Lettuce grows really, really fast. That would be something you might want to do multiples of, because you're going to eat through it. It's so exciting. Like, we went away for a conference together, and I came home, and when you normally come home from away and you have an empty fridge, and I thought, I don't want to go to the grocery store. I come home and I have fresh produce. Like, I don't even need to, so it's really exciting. It's super great. I think I'll stop blabbing on about it, but if anybody has any questions, I'd be happy to answer, or Jake, Anna as well.
Yeah, we definitely have a list of little things that I'd like to discuss, but maybe for Sarah, because Sarah joined us later, would you be able to share your screen again and show like 1 week, like 7 weeks, just so that she can see the growth?
Sure.
Because it's so impressive. We were laughing here because, for us, it took like 6 months. No, maybe 4 months
right.
to get plants that size, and
Okay, let me find here the screen. It's pretty incredible, and that's why I was so excited about it, because I was like, wow, I can actually grow that fast and that much without having all the work. It's like, wow, sign me up.
It really shines a light on the inefficiency of our systems.
Yes, exactly.
We don't have enough nutrients. We don't have enough light, that's shining on it. The roots are suffocating in the containers indoor. So I think these 3 factors results in us not having huge plants.
Yeah, and what Mallory was saying about the food tastes so much better. I can totally see that. Because when the soil is depleted, you don't get the quality of food anyways. Yeah. And when you're getting all the nutrition into the plant, that's when you really get like delicious. The Nancy, that's the slide she's asking me to show you. That's 1 week after she planted. Mm-hmm. And that's 5 weeks. And that's 7 weeks. That's, yeah.
You can see, if you go back to the 5 weeks for a second, I'll show you. In the picture on the left, you can kind of see at the bottom there, you can see the white string. So that's where I'm kind of training them to go. And then if you look at, so if you go from 5 to 7 weeks, you can see like it almost looks a little bit more spacious. And it's just me like playing with it. And I was just kind of figuring out like where it goes, and you can see at that point the cucumber, I started wrapping it around the bottom, which has worked really well, because then everything again is still all in the light, and it's really doing well. I was shocked that it happened so quickly, and part of me, like, I wanted to buy my garden, and I just life happens and time just kept passing, and I thought, oh shoot, I didn't get it soon enough. I'm not going to have enough produce for when my mom comes in 3 weeks. And sure enough, you know, she's pruning and she's playing in my garden too, and we're eating from it every single day.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah, then let's see if you have any question, you can also unmute yourself and you can ask anything that you want. Thank you for joining us.
I was curious about the maintenance of the tower. What do you have to do to maintain it?
Well, for me, I haven't had to do much. Like, you know, everything's still in there. I think that, you know,
Eat your produce. I think the most important thing is that you got to keep up with it. Is just cut it and eat it, because it does turn into a monstrosity if you don't start eating it. I mean, people will be coming over to your house and asking you for the extras. So it really runs itself. My wife and I, we've been gone from LA for 2 weeks, and I'm fully expecting to come back to a beautiful tower. So it is the real deal, and we love recommending it.
How often do you need to rewater the tower?
If you live in a dry climate.
Yeah, so the 20-gallon basin, at the beginning, the seedlings don't necessarily need that much water, but as the tower starts to grow a little more, they're going to start sucking up more water. But I mean, 2 weeks, and my tower is doing really well, it's going to be fine. And if you have somebody, you know, maybe a week and a half, or after 2 weeks, maybe you want somebody to go over and just make sure they're checking the water level. But something that waters itself, if you'd have to pay somebody for 2 weeks to go out and water your traditional plants, if that's really the case.
No. When one of us leaves, the other one has to come over and water all of the individual plants every 3 days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One by one.
Our kids, you know, hauling the kids and everything from one house to the next neighborhood, and, you know, with the newborn, it's a bit of a pain sometimes, you know, if we are gone for a long period of time.
These are roots.
Oh my God.
Whoa!
Yeah. So they're coming down through the middle of the tower, and then and it's just, I mean, that's pretty amazing, right? Like, I can just set, like, and they're so clean, you know, and they're just resting in the water at this point. Some of the ones up high, like the basil, wouldn't be coming all the way down here, but it's all just, yeah, they're all in there. I find for me, like, it's dry, and I'm at this point, it's not like it's gone within a week, but I do, you know, I check on it every week. It's probably about down that much right now, and I did put water in almost to the top at the beginning of last week. So you want to fill it up. But again, even doing that, it's still 90% less water than you do with conventional gardening, right? Because you're not doing that every single day, just water. It's like some of it's getting to the roots and the rest is just being wasted, you know? And so it's that way. And that would be one thing that I'll see now it's coming on. The timer just came on. You can hear the water. So you have a beautiful waterfall in your front. But I make sure that I keep on top of it, because there was one day, thankfully I heard it before I left, but it was when the plants got bigger and I hadn't really monitored it to that point before. And right before I left, I heard the water come on, but it didn't sound like that. It sounded a little bit more like a trickling, and I thought, oh no, and I checked and it was really low. And so I'd say, as far as maintenance, what I've experienced so far is just making sure there's water, because you don't want to damage your pump. You know, the plants are going to be okay if they go without water. That day I had to leave the house because I was busy, so I turned the pump off and was just like, I hope they'll be okay without water today. And they were fine. They weren't wilted. They were completely okay. I just wanted to make sure I didn't break my pump.
And that's a great topic that I didn't cover. The pump is only a 20-watt pump. So it's the same as a night light. It is very low wattage. It's very low maintenance electricity-wise. And if you do it outside, you know, I think it costs like $7 a year if you were running that thing year-round electricity-wise. So it's really cost-effective.
Yeah, I haven't noticed a difference in my power bill at all.
Do you have to treat the water more often than as you put more? Like, do you know what I mean? You have to put the water as you put it in, but after that, do you have to treat it more?
Specific guidelines are every time you add a gallon, you add 20 milliliters of the tonic A and B. but it is a very forgiving system. Like I just walk over and I take my tonic A and tonic B and I just splash it and splash it. Judge me, bring on the judgment. And it's doing just fine. You know, my wife's Grammy does the same thing, and hers is a monstrosity. She lives up in Virginia. And I mean, people are just coming over, knocking on her door all the time saying, what is that thing? So it's an awesome system. And we just love as a community being able to share this. And if you know anyone that would be interested, there's a way that you can, you know, get some retail sales profit back from your tower. There are so many options and venues that we have as a community to really help, you know, financially with this.
Yeah, I think I came into this community here in Los Angeles, and, you know, I'm originally from Canada, and immediately like wanted to tell everybody back at home. You know, I have a lot of friends that work within the trade camps in Fort McMurray, and I have family that are up in the diamond mines in Yellowknife, and I understand like the really, you know, the difficult situations that people are working in, whether that be just living situations and where you live in Canada. You know, it's such a beautiful country, but the resources are a little bit limited depending on the season. And you know, I just so badly wanted to bring this back home. So like Jake said, like if there's, you know, if you know anybody, or if you know of these types of communities or people working in these situations, we would love to help them out. I would love to spread the word. I know Anna absolutely is on top of that as well. So, you know, being a Canadian myself, it's just like, I'm living here and I live in a place where I can go to the farmer's market all the time, but it breaks my heart. And I think about what people are doing at home, especially where I have families that are like, you know, flying in every 2 weeks to the mines, you know, in Yellowknife, and thinking about what they're eating. And, you know, I have my family all on the capsules, the veggie capsules. So they know that while they're working, they're getting that, and thinking about getting the tower garden now. And that's up in Yellowknife. Like that's, so it's, just please, like, you know, if spread the word, you know, of what we're trying to do here, because I'd love to just let everybody know that these resources are available, and we don't necessarily have to pay $2.50 for a tomato or go without. You know, those shouldn't be the options. So, yeah. Any other questions or anything before we close?
You guys ship in many different countries, right? You ship to Canada.
Right now, exclusively America and Canada. We are the only two countries that have it, and that is because of the shipping of the Tower Tonic across seas. We can get it in Hawaii, so we do have that in Hawaii and Alaska, but we're looking towards getting it into Europe. That will be the next frontier, and that should happen within the next year or two. So it's a very exciting opportunity to be getting in, you know, this community now and having the knowledge now, because everyone needs more fruits and vegetables. It's not a question. And the whole food concentrates that my wife has been on those for 22 years. I've been on them for 9 years. So since she was 5 years old, she was taking Juice Plus and taking the smoothie. And the girl has, you know, never been sick. She catches stuff, but it just doesn't affect her because her immune system's so strong. And, you know, Anna was really a big proponent for that. She loves integrating it into her community as well. So it's a really cool company, and we have a fantastic group of people that are all like-minded.
What do you use to ship to Canada? We're like really interested because
just to clarify, Helene, before you go to the next question, the capsules and the shakes, they are shipped to 37 countries. Is that correct, Jeff? Yeah.
Correct. Yeah, the tower is
more limited because of how it is, but the other products all ship like all over the world. Then, yeah, okay, next question.
The shipping is there is a headquarters in Canada. So if it's shipping within Canada, it's actually coming from Canada. So I thought when I was first placing orders in Canada, it was going to take people a long time to get it. But I know, you know, I have people in Ontario, they got their order within 2 days. My cousin in Edmonton got hers within 4. My mom got hers within like 4 or 5 days in Nova Scotia. So it's right there. I think it might ship out of Calgary.
Oh, actually, that's that's relatively close to us. Just have to drive a day or like two 2 days.
Yeah,
Anyway,
that's 12 hours.
yeah, we were just wondering because actually most shipping companies don't even come here because we're that remote. We live where the road stops pretty much.
Okay.
So after that, it's like fly-in communities. So yeah,
It's really expensive, or they just don't come at all.
yeah.
And anything coming from the States just takes that much more money and time to get it up here.
Can you go to like if you were to ship it to that borderline of where they stop, are you able to go there and pick something up?
That takes us 3 days. Yeah.
So they ship all throughout. They ship throughout Canada. They like this is kind of the great part about our company is that we bring fruits and vegetables, whole food concentrates, whatever it is, the smoothies, the tower gardens. We make sure that there's a way that you can get it. In your country, they're going to find a way to get it to you. And yeah.
To the border, you have to go to the border. So what do you mean?
No, Maury said they go to the border.
No, but I mean where. Okay, yeah, it'd be interesting to see what the cost of a total system with the cage and the lighting would be, like without shipping and then with shipping for us, just to compare with the systems that we have, because I think I spent about $2,000 on my indoor garden.
Oh yeah.
With
So
3 walls, like multiple shelves. But the growth rate is poor compared to what you have. Actually, is it okay if I show them?
Ours?
Yeah.
What?
I'm just gonna show them outdoor. Is it okay? Do we have the time? Okay, so we combined, so here during the winter, we have about, I don't know, 4 or 5 hours of light a day. But during the summer, it's more like 20 hours of sunlight a day. So everything grows like crazy to the point where it's unmanageable almost when we're outdoors. You see how strong the sun is? Now I can't even see you, but I can't even see. Can you see behind me?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. I can't hear you.
Yes.
You're going to have to talk to me so that I know what
Yes,
I
we
can't
see
see
it.
the screen anymore. So there's this side here, and then you can see the soil that we have. And this is our lot. Okay. And then there's this other section here, and I have no idea if you saw something, but
We can see it, Helen. That's good.
huh?
We can see it.
You saw it, okay.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
I'm blinded. This one is so strong. So during the summer, we have plenty of light outdoor. During the winter, there's almost no light. So what happened is we combined our garden there, like or indoor gardens from my house and her house. The plants you see, we planted most of them back in like on January 1st.
Wow.
That's how long it took for them to grow. Obviously, we harvest them for both of our families, and now it's at the point where like we have to we gave a lot of plants away, and we are harvesting and giving, but it's not growing as fast as when Mallory is,
what's your province? I actually have a screen pulled up where I can tell you exactly how much
Saskatchewan.
shipping.
Yeah, I have it up too. They're in Saskatchewan, right?
Our internal lake.
Okay, so I'll share my screen right now so you can see. With shipping, and the great thing about this company is that they allow you to do it on installments, so it doesn't have to be pay in full. So you can break it up and think of it as your monthly grocery bill for what you're growing. And so this one is, I did it 2 ways. I'm sharing right now. Can you see that? Okay, let me zoom in a little. So right now, the Tower Garden growing system in Canada is $617, $51.42 per month. A Tower Garden light kit is $270. I gave you some extra Tower tonic and a tomato cage. So all of these, pay in full total for all of that, including shipping, is $12.49. And if you want to do it on installments, it will be $105 and then 11 payments of $105. So, I mean, that's compared to what you guys were talking about, and that's just one tower if you want to do it on the indoor. And there's also, there are multiple options, and Anna can send you a link so you can pick through this. But there's something called the family plan, where they give you a bunch of stuff for free. They actually give you 3 towers. Let me see if I can get it up here. And in Anna's link, you can see at the top, you go up to this little globe and you change it to Canada. See that little flag? And so then now you're in the Canada version of the Tower Garden website. And you can just go shop, and my little guy's in the way. I know that there's, here's the Tower Garden family garden. So $163 a month, you get 3 Tower Gardens, and they throw in, let me delete this other stuff. Let's remove the Tower Garden Light and Tower Garden A and B. Or maybe Mal, if you can pull that up. Here it comes. I know they throw in like extra tonic. They give you free extra rock wool. They give you 2 extension kits. Here, I'll pull it. There it is. Okay, so 3 Tower Garden growing system for Canada. They give you all of these non-GMO seeds already included. You can go out and buy your own or have them shipped to you if you want special heirloom tomatoes or specific tomatoes. 3 pumps, 3 timers, 3 drainage hoses, 3 extension kits. So now you're actually getting an extra, 24 pods, 1 support tomato cage, 6 extra gallons of mineral blend, 2 pH testing kits, and that's all just because you got 3, and shipping is way down as well. So for $163 a month for 12 months, you're growing a lot of produce. You're going to be like, you could be selling that produce to your close friends and family to defray your costs. There's so many ways that you can do this, and no one really has these in Canada, because this recently was allowed to get into Canada, like within the past year and a half. So you could be like some of the first people to be rolling with it. I think it's cool. Hey, but guys, I'm so sorry. I have to hop off this call. My wife and I, we just bought a house out in Charlotte, so we're going over there. We have a bunch of things going on, but it was so nice to meet you. And Anna.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Can we get the email address of everybody?
Yeah, I'm going to send you the link for the webinar today. They're going to be changing that. Do you guys want to leave your question, or do you want to cut? Because usually what we do, I'm going to actually stop sharing it.